Well, 2013 is officially drawing to a close. It is the 30th today, and we're about to get a shitstorm of bad movies in January, so I figure let's talk about the good ones that came out this year before I really start getting pissed off again. So I created a list, my top 10 favorite movies of 2013, and before I get into it, I have a few honorable mentions on this list I've written. Just a few movies that just missed the list because I like 10 other movies more. Anchorman 2, that was hilarious. Pacific Rim, Catching Fire, Desolation of Smaug, Man of Steel, Before Midnight, and Mud. All great movies and just barely missed this list. Now let's get right into it. Number 10 is The Wolverine. Now when I first saw The Wolverine, I think I gave it an A- or B+, something like that. But it just came out on Blu-ray this month and they had this extended cut and it just made the movie just a little bit more complete, and it made me love the movie that much more because there's more blood, there's F-bombs from Wolverine, and it's just, there's a few extra character development scenes, and I don't want to go too much into it, but I enjoyed it. I love it. Hugh Jackman is a fantastic Wolverine. I can't imagine anyone else playing that character. Number 9 is Blackfish, and this movie is a documentary about SeaWorld, and it's just such a well-done movie. It exposes SeaWorld for the terrible things that they do, and it's a movie that everybody should watch, and not too many people are talking about it. It came out in like July, but if you haven't heard of Blackfish, I think it's streaming on Netflix right now. Definitely check it out. It's fantastic. It's well done, and it's only like 80 minutes, so it's not like it's going to steal too much of your time if you don't enjoy it for whatever reason. Number 8 is a movie that I gave an A+, and it's a fantastic movie, but I just can't really see myself going back to watch it ever again, and that's 12 Years a Slave. 12 Years a Slave is a fantastic movie with great performances, and it just shows this time in such a real way, and it doesn't shy away from anything, and it's amazing. I just can't see myself ever going back to watch this movie again, and that's why I put it this low on the list, because it's a fantastic movie that everybody should go out and see, but rewatchability plays a factor in this list, and this movie does not have much of that. Number 7 is a movie that when I first saw it, I said it was my favorite movie of the year so far. And thinking about it, it dropped a few places and then more movies came out that I loved. So Rush is number 7. It's a fantastic movie. Ron Howard directs this movie so well. It's so stylistically amazing. The performances in the movie are great, and it was a really fun ride throughout the entire movie. Number 6 is a movie that I had high hopes for. It was one of the last movies to come out in the summer, and I really had hoped that it would be great, and it was. Elysium delivered, for me at least. I know some people didn't like it that much, but I loved Elysium. The performances, Charlton Copley is one of the best villains I've seen the entire year. He was so off-hinge and crazy. He was awesome. I enjoyed Jodie Foster in the movie. I didn't have a problem with her accent or anything. Matt Damon, I love Matt Damon. He was great in the movie. And the social commentary, I didn't feel like it was beating you over the head. I feel like it touched on it just enough, and it felt like a perfect balance of action and actual quality to the movie. Number 5 is a movie I just rewatched a few days ago, and it is so intense. This movie is just so well made, and Prisoners is number 5. It is a great movie filled with amazing performances. I don't know if I touched on this in my review, but the cinematography in this movie is really well done. There was never a point in this movie where I felt it was dull, and it's 2.5 hours of mostly people just talking. That is really tough to do, but this movie nails it. It does it so well. Oh, a lot of the scenes are really intense, and even now, like, I know what's gonna happen. I know who is doing these kidnappings and whatnot, but I still, catching all those little things that I didn't see the first time around was great. Again, this isn't a movie I'm going to rewatch tons of times over and over again, but it is just, it's amazing, and I appreciate it for that. Number 4 is The Place Beyond the Pines. When this movie first came out, it was like the first movie of the year I gave an A+, and I still love it to this day. I love the 3-act structure of it. It works so well. Bradley Cooper, Ryan Gosling, Ray Liotta, Jesus, Dane DeHaan, everybody does a great job in this movie, and I love the themes of it, of how certain things can affect your entire life, and the bond between father and son, how that can affect people. It's a great story. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check that one out. Alright, we're down to number 3, and these last 3 movies, I was like going back and forth and back and forth. I didn't know what to do. Pretty much these 3 movies are all equal in my opinion, but Number 3, this is going to shock some people because I did have a problem with this movie when I originally saw it, but I've seen it again since then, and I loved it completely. American Hustle is one of the best movies I've seen all year, and it is just, this movie is so well written. Every little dialogue exchange in this movie, it didn't have me on the edge of my seat, but it had my eyes glued to the screen the whole time. I was so interested in what was going on. It was intense and it was hilarious. There's so many scenes in this movie that were just laugh out loud hilarious. The performances are fantastic. Christian Bale should get nominated for this movie, even though he probably won't because there's some heavy competition this year. To the top 2, and these 2 movies I guess you could say are like popcorn style movies. They aren't completely thought-provoking movies, but I go to movies to be entertained, and these 2 movies did it so well. Number 2 is Thor: The Dark World. I just freaking love this movie. Yes, Malekith is a bit of a weak villain, but I thought he served the movie well, and this movie just had great action. It was hilarious throughout. It felt so fast, too. Like, this movie just feels like it's an hour and a half, maybe an hour 20 minutes, but it flies by. There was never a dull moment. I was so interested in what was going on. I love Thor as a character, so I loved seeing more of Asgard and everything like that. It was such an awesome movie. I can't wait for the next one, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Expect to see that on my 2014 preview video coming soon. And number 1 movie of this year for me was a movie that I had high hopes for. It was my most anticipated movie of this year going into this year, if you go back to that video. And it just fulfilled on everything I had hoped for. It was just such a great time at the movies. I had so much fun with it. Star Trek Into Darkness is my favorite movie of this year. Star Trek 2009 was a great movie. It was really enjoyable, but one thing that it lacked was a great villain, and the presence of Benedict Cumberbatch in this movie just blew out of the water Nero from the first movie. He was so great in this movie. Every single time he was on screen, he was awesome. And Kirk and Spock and everybody is back in this movie, and they were all very good. The action in the movie is amazing. It's well done, especially the final sequence in San Francisco. That fight was just awesome. And it took some turns that I didn't expect, because I haven't seen the original Star Trek movies or series or anything like that. So I was pretty blind going into this movie about how close it was to Wrath of Khan, but just certain things that happened in the movie really surprised me, and that's not really something that usually happens with big blockbusters, so that was just great for me at least. So there it is, my top 10 favorite movies of this year. What are your guys' favorite movies of this year? You don't need like a top 10, just however many you want to write, I guess. Write me a few comments down there and tell me what you think, and if you like this video, hit that subscribe button down there, because if you don't, 2014 is going to suck. Yeah, this is all on you.